Who are the pretenders and who are the contenders? We're more than halfway through the NFL season, but DraftKings Sportsbook is still pumping out unbeatable offers every single game. New customers can bet just $5 on anything and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. DraftKings isn't stopping there. All customers can take advantage of a sweetener offer every game day this October. Get in on all the football action with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Download the app now and use code Shannon. New customers can bet just $5 on anything and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Only DraftKings Sportsbook with code Shannon. The crown is yours.
Is the Jordan-LeBron debate ever going to end?
It ain't going to end, but Bron's a GOAT.
All my life, been grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle paid the price. Want a slice, got to roll the dice, that's why. All my life, I've been grinding all my life. Look, all my life, been grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle paid the price. Want a slice, got to roll the dice, that's why. All my life, I've been grinding all my life.
Hello, welcome to another edition of Club Shay. I am your host, Shannon Sharp. I'm also the proprietor of Club Shay. And the guy that's stopping by for conversation and a drink today is one of the most powerful figures in sports. He's a self-made super agent, founder, CEO of Clutch Sports. His agency represents over 200 athletes in multiple leagues. He's negotiated over $4 billion in contracts. He's an entrepreneur, a businessman, and he's from the east side of Cleveland to the top of the sports world. His newest memoir, Lucky Me, a memoir of changing the odds, Rich Paul. Rich, how you doing, bro? This is
I'm
three
good
moments.
No, don't even start.
Go ahead, tell your story. Go ahead,
I've been trying to get on Club Shay, and you skipped over everybody but your dog. But it's cool. Don't worry about it.
You know what? You know, I got my own brand of cognac. I sent you a bottle. I know you got it.
It's on my shelf, yeah. You didn't let me in an investment, but it's fine. I don't. Don't worry about it.
To get to where you got, to come to where you came from, and do it in the class and the manner in which you've done it, and to help those coming behind you to show them, I did it, you can do it. Cheers, bro.
Cheers. Thank you.
Let's start with the book. Lucky Me, a memoir of changing the odds. Why was it important for you to write this book?
I think it's important because we need as many positive examples as we can today.
Right.
And oftentimes it doesn't have to come in a figure. It can come in a storyline, a shared experience. And so this book is Lucky Me, but it's really about us. This is a gift from me to you in terms of whether you're youth or you came from a certain community. I think everyone aligns with it. The people that has been reaching out and the comments that I've been getting from all people.
Right.
I was in the gym this morning. A man came up to me, he had to be 70 years old. And he just was, he was just floored by the story. And he was just like, man, just more blessings to you. I think that impact is really helpful, right? And for me, I didn't know how much I actually needed to write the book. I was withholding that trauma that I went through for all those years, and I didn't find out that I needed to release that until I was writing the book.
Right.
And so for me, it's not necessarily about sales, etc. If I can help one person change the perspective that I started here, I'm going through this right now, but I see an example of somebody who also went through some of the same things, and I don't have to finish here. I don't have to give up hope on my life. I don't have to give up hope on an opportunity that lies ahead. I can take little bits and things of what I do have, not so much focus on what I don't have, but let me focus on what I do have and make the best of that. Just to get to the next step in life is what I deemed important today. And so I'm ecstatic for you to get through it all. I know you touched on some of it, but it was, I haven't been able to get through the whole book, bits and pieces, obviously, because it's just such an emotional roller coaster for me. But as we were writing it and as I was, just going
telling it,
I did the audio book, which was extremely emotional. And at the end, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but at the end, I I do something for my mother.
Right.
And it's tough.
In the book, you mentioned that your dad owned a corner store, convenience store.
Yeah.
You worked in the store. So by that stretch of the imagination, you kind of ghetto rich. I mean, you got a little convenience store, you know.
Well, we felt like that, but that wasn't the truth.
Okay.
Because you got to remember, so the store was my Savannah State.
Okay.
Okay, that's where I got my curriculum.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it was at.
Right.
But I also I learned math. I learned customer service. I learned marketing. But the most important thing I learned was people.
Right.
Because there's all walks of life coming into that store, and you know, throughout the course of their day, their energy is different. You know, so you had to be able to balance certain things. I had to learn this at a very young age.
Everybody's not happy. Everybody's not sad. Somebody's had a bad day.
Yeah, and their problem became your problem.
Right.
I had to watch my father navigate his way through this to make margins on Boston baked beans and cigarettes and beer and wine. Those aren't big margins. You understand what I'm saying? But yet and still, his approach to opening that store every morning, how he treated people, whether you had $1 or $100, was important. And he explained to me, and there's a chapter in his book where we talk about just having the empathy for others, where he taught me that this is your family. These customers, these consumers, it's important to take care of them, right? And to treat them a certain way. And it really affected my life and really shaped me, right? Because I would learn stuff from a textbook, but my education came from that store.
Right. I think the thing is, Rich, is that empathy. I think empathy is being able to divorce your ego, set aside your ego, and see yourself as someone else. And I think when people with like circumstances, it's easier to have empathy, because your dad saw himself. He's like, I ain't really rich. So he saw himself as some of these poor, less fortunate, less having than others. And so he could empathize. So was he that type of store owner that, hey, Mr. Paul, how you doing today? Hey, Savannah, hey, Ricky, hey, Johnny.
Miss Sharp sent you down there, little Shannon.
Yeah.
You don't got a dime in your pocket, but you need bread.
Right.
You need soap.
Right.
You need toilet paper. Well, Miss Sharp sent you. That's all he needed to know. Miss Sharp sent, because she already called before you got there.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So now when you get there, and then you may be standing there looking, and he may say, what you want, boy? And you said, man, can I have some of them cherry clams? Go ahead, take it. You know, and so that exchange, now you become Shannon. Now you Shannon from such and such. Now here come Lil Rich. You feel what I'm saying? How my dad treated Shannon, Miss Sharp's grandson at that moment, and now you're Shannon. You get what I'm saying? Saved my life in a lot of ways. And people don't understand that. And so my dad would always tell me, you once a man, twice a child. And I never understood what that meant. And then he explained it to me right around the age on the cover of that book. And he said, as you're born a child, you grow to become a man. As you get older, you start to become a child again. And how you treated people as a man will have a direct correlation of how they treat you as you become a child again. And that always stuck with me. And I come from a place where your money didn't matter.
Right.
That don't matter. Who you are at your core is what matters. And so despite my successes, I always carried that with me, even into the representation business, which you and I both know as a former player, that don't exist, right? And so I brought that with me, and it's extremely important, and I live with that every day.
I read in the book, and it seems to me one of your proudest moments is that the family was struggling, you didn't have a whole lot to eat, and you go ask your uncle, and he gives you $20 out of the register, and you go and hit a lick, and you were able to go buy bread. You was able to go buy deli meat. We call it lunch meat. In the South, y'all call it
lunch meat too.
Y'all call lunch meat. Okay.
My family from Jonesboro, Arkansas.
Okay. So we call it lunch meat. So you were able to buy some things, and at that moment, it dawned on you, like, man, it made you feel good.
I can provide.
then was that the moment that you saw? Because we all have a purpose.
Yeah.
Same thing happened to me when I would get paid. You'd give my grandmother $10 of the $40 that I made. It wasn't much, but it helped buy something.
Absolutely.
From that moment on, I've been a provider my entire life. My job is to provide for my family.
Yeah.
Was that the moment that you said, you know what? Rich Paul is a provider.
Yeah, because me, my brother, and sister, I got 2 older sisters
Right.
and an older brother.
Right.
I'm the youngest. But my older sister, Brandy, and my older brother, Miko, we lived together.
Right.
So my mom wasn't there.
Okay.
My dad had his family. And so there was plenty of times where it was no one there. So we had to do things as a collective.
How much older are they than you?
My brother's 3 years older and my sister 5 years older.
Okay.
But 7 and 12 and that's a big jump.
Yeah,
In
for sure.
terms of responsibility.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so I watched my sister babysit other people's kids and then, take her money, and I would go to the mall with her. That's how I learned fashion. My sister taught me about clothes. She made that bug bite me for clothes and all that. And then I watched my brother do what he had to do. And so I had to play my part. And so when I was able to do so, like you're saying, whether it was that, whether it was shooting jump shots and not having no money and had to make it to win, and going to get the, I used to buy the juice, the lunch meat, because my mother taught us how to do this, couple pound of lunch meat, the juice, and then we would get the bread or whatnot.
You said you're going through the juice too quick, so I had to get
You had to
Kool-Aid.
get Kool-Aid, exactly. I had to get the Kool-Aid because it was going too fast. We had to stretch it, and so, but when I felt, like you said, I felt good as a young kid. And I went to a school called Upson in Euclid, Ohio.
Okay.
I'm in the 4th grade. And I remember this adding to the calls in the 4th grade. And I didn't have nobody to say to you, you better be going to school. It was a decision that I had to make, that I wanted to make at a very young age, and so did my siblings. But there was also times where I used to walk the parking lot. It was a place called the Americana. My dad had we called it the Honeycomb Hideout. He had a little honeycomb hideout that we had to take over, right? Because we had nowhere to go. But I would walk and pick up a quarter here, a dime here, and there was a little bar next to another apartment complex called the Horizon House back then. It was a little bar and grill, and they would have these cheeseburgers. And as a kid, you can go in there before a certain time and order from the grill. And and that's how I would eat some days, And so all those things though shaped me. I don't look at that as a negative thing. And it was a struggle, but I didn't know it as much, right? Because I didn't know anything per se different.
And because everybody around you was probably going through the same thing, you didn't think you were any different because everybody else was struggling too.
Because you know what separates you at that point? You could be struggling and have a new pair of shoes on.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And it elevated you.
Yeah.
So those things, I always had the things, right? But what I didn't have is that family infrastructure, that consistency in the household. I didn't have that. But what I was able to control, I controlled. Just because I didn't have X didn't mean I was going to sit in class and be a dummy. I wasn't going to follow the class clowns. I wasn't going to do abacadabra on my tests just because. I wanted to be in school. I didn't want to miss school. And that showed a lot about me as a person. The things didn't make me. That was, because I can makeshift. My sister taught me how to makeshift things where you can go to TJ Maxx and get a Ralph Lauren. It may be a little defective. And wear it just the same. And so I learned those little things to feel good. Because, when you don't have much, especially back then, the littlest things elevated you, make the biggest difference, right? And so that was important to me. But I also knew then the responsibility of right from wrong at that point.
And that's what I was about to get to. You said, okay, I'm a hustler. I roll dice, trying to hit a lick. Shoot pool, I can shoot jumpers.
Card, jumpers, horseshoe,
play tongue,
casino, race, whatever you wanted to do, bet.
You didn't want to do it, but you didn't go. A lot of times kids like, well, I didn't really have a choice, so I had to go this route. You never.
Not then. When I made those choices, I understood because I had the influence in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
So I sat on the porch until it's when I jumped off the porch, it was because of survival. Because when you have an entrepreneurial spirit in the hood, what's your options?
Right.
What's your real opportunity? Right? The lady who took that picture, we called her Picture Lady. That was her hustle. She would have a Polaroid and she would come on the block and she turned our best outfits into pictures. Mm-hmm. That was art. She could have been Dina Lawson. That was art. She could have been that could have been Instagram. But nobody recognized what she was doing and recognized the business of it and say to her, you ever thought about this? And let me invest in that. Everybody on the right of me had a hustle. Everybody on the left of me had a hustle. The person in front of me had a hustle, and the person in back of me had a hustle. There's no careers. There's no great job. There's no equity positions. You get what I'm saying? There's no VC. There's none of that. I didn't even know what that meant. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so understanding what it means today is different. But when I look back on it, the only difference between me or someone like me and anybody else in the world that has been an innovator, a genius, created something and built it and grew it, they had the opportunity, the option, and someone willing to support. We don't have that. So we had to turn to what was placed in our environment. Now, some people did it, and they did it with malice, they did it with whatever. Mm-hmm. That was never me. My intent was I always tried to find the right even within doing wrong, if that makes sense.
Yeah. What's the most money you like roll? You say you like rolling dice. So what's the most you made in a day and the most you lost?
When? What age? Cause see, you gotta understand.
So what age did you start rolling dice?
About 7 or 8.
Okay.
See, my dad taught me, the reason why my dad taught me he taught me and my siblings how to gamble, shoot dice and play cards. It wasn't from a gambling perspective. It was from a survival perspective because he said to us, these are the tools. These were his exact words. These are the tools that would allow you to get from here to here. If you get laid off on this job, to get to the next job, you're gonna need some time. To get by, here's some things you can do to get by. Okay. I turned it into my job, because I got infatuated with it, and so.
Cause it's quick, easy money. Cause every roll, money's moving.
And that's the thing, and so my dad would take me to the family reunion, and once the drinks.
You hitting the cousins and the uncles up? Oh, come on, Rich.
Oh, I beat grandma out the money. It don't matter.
Oh, come on, Rich, for real? You beat granny, you took granny money. Granny take the money out the bosom. She ain't got like $5.
I beat your grandma out the money, my grandma out the money. Whoever got the money, I want it. I'm beating them out the money. You ain't have to worry about that. Because that's what it was. But
right.
See, when you start gambling, there is no age limit.
No.
If you got money, you in play.
You in
play.
Yeah.
As soon as you put that money, and ain't no, I didn't mean to do that. Cause and when we was back in the day, we used to catch the dollar.
Oh, yeah.
We had to cut that out.
Yeah.
Because somebody doing this.
They catch it 15 times a year.
You seen what I did? I did like this. Man, what you what you talking about?
So that's universal, man. They be on some bullshit.
So when I was young, we totally cut catching out.
Okay.
There's no more catching.
Right.
Now, that does a number of things. Yeah, it opens the game up, it speeds it up. But then you got the slicksters coming in.
Right.
So now you got to match that slickness. So now it was it's a free for all. So we had spots, right? And so the best way for me to equate it, DuPont was like Madison Square Garden or the Staples Center. Mm-hmm. That's where everybody was. Those was the big game. That was the big game. The average roll in that game was probably about $1,000 a roll.
Wow.
And it's the who's who, everywhere. So as a young kid, being allowed to be in that game, that's like a rookie starting. That's like a rookie making an all-NBA team.
But Rich, when that kind of money is involved, people got them things on them. They got them switches.
Well, they ain't had that back then. But yeah, no. But that was necessary. But you know that.
Cause you know money does things to people, especially if I lose a big hand.
Yeah, but I'm gonna tell you something about these specific areas. And every now and then you had issues, but not like it would be today.
Okay.
There was a lot more respect.
Right.
But back then it was just different because, again, when I talk about the who's who, there ain't even no conversation. That's no go. Period. Mm-hmm. You knew that. That was it was a respect and a rapport, but at the same time, it was things that got a little chippy here and there. But it started with these.
Oh first. Yeah. You got enough.
You wasn't doing. You wasn't doing.
You wasn't squeezing up.
But again, we had the hut. The hut was like, the hut was like the United Center, mm-hmm. right? And then Forest Hill Pool. See, at Forest Hill Pool, that's like the Staples Center or the Garden, because that's where everybody come there, man. They in their Diamantes with the Vogues on them, they Porsches. They got the Gator sandals on with a fresh pedicure, and they pop a Dom Perignon. This is what I come up on. So as a kid, I'm seeing guys pop the trunk. They got a case of Dom Perignon. So as we get older, when we get 14, 15, I didn't even drink, but that's what we wanted.
Right.
My friend, we put cases of Moet, cases of Dom, going to Blue Point for dinner and stuff like that as young men, because we're hanging with 45-year-old men that's teaching us this. And so I was never really allowed to be a child per se, but the game was given. That's why the seat I sit in today, I got to get a game because it was given to me.
Been to have a dice game recently?
No.
You don't have dice game because some players like to play cards and with their buddies.
Yeah.
Now you can't have outside because they're gonna try to sleep. They're gonna bring the crooked dice up into the loaded dice that roll the 10 or 4 all day.
I would love to in an environment because you like to be in the barbershop. You like to be we just love that part of it. But it's just too dangerous.
It's too dangerous.
I won't do it today. But amongst friends, if they would, but now all my friends, they need their back.
Yeah.
So you can't be, you can't be shooting dice for 8 hours because they got to go out and score 45. You can't do that. So it's a different dynamic now.
Right.
But they love it.
Right.
But just the house, the gambling house, the characters within the gambling house, the teachings within the gambling house. See, we had to learn by losing. That's how we learn, by losing. These kids today, they want to skip every step in the process, and it don't work.
And just win.
No, it don't work. They want to take it,
Eventually, for sure. You were raised by your grandparents, and you said that in the book, I read in the book where you went to live with your grandparents, your granny was really strict. Most grandparents are.
Detailed.
And you were was kind of like, damn.
Well, it was the first time I ever had my own room. When I moved with my grandma, Johnny Mae, it was the first time I ever had my own room.
Right.
And I'm looking around, I can't believe it. But it's me, it's Johnny, my grandma Johnny Mae, my grandma Campbell, my Uncle Charlie. Now, these are on my father's side. My great-grandmother, all she ate was Wrigley's gum. So when I would come home from my dad's store, she ate spearmint, not Big Red because it was too hot.
Right.
Spearmint, double mint, and juicy fruit. Because there wasn't no Winter Fresh then yet. Yeah. And my grandma Paul, the only thing she ate was peanut M&Ms. My Uncle Charlie went to see his girlfriend one day out the week. He leave at 10 o'clock on Tuesday. He come back at 11 o'clock on Wednesday. He wear a white shirt, hat, Stacey Adams. You could eat off the car. It was so clean, but he was so detailed. At 10 o'clock, it don't matter what the game. If the game could be in overtime. When that clock strike 10 o'clock, if you sitting outside my house, you can see him going up the stairs to get into bed. So I don't use an alarm clock right now to this day because my grandmother get up every day at 3:30 in the morning. Bathe, her mom, then she go downstairs and, do what she need to do. She washing and she cooking at the same time. Then I get up at 5:30. My dad's picking me up. We open the store at 6. That was my routine every morning.
Wow. You said your mom struggled with addiction when you were a child. What impact did that have on you, not having her, the mother, we know what the mother brings to the family.
Yeah.
The matriarch. What did that do to a young Rich?
Loss of emotion and vulnerability, because in order for you to love something, you have to allow yourself to be vulnerable. I had to wipe that out because it affected me in a way in which I loved my mother. When she was around, life of the party, you could smell the food coming from down the hall. Oh, you would have been so overweight. Oh my God. Cakes, pies, chocolate pie, cherry pie, peach cobbler, banana pudding. I mean, it was the work. It was unbelievable. But, I didn't have that. I'm only getting that for 2-3 days at a time. Mm-hmm. I may be without it for 6 months, 6-7 months at a time. And I just had to understand, and the way my dad put it to me, it was a sickness. So I had to just understand it and move on. But it was tough, because parent-teacher conference, I look in the stands, I'm at my games, homecoming, whatever the case may be. She ain't there, but I was always in somebody else's car with their parents, or at somebody else's house with their parents, holidays and things like that. It was always that. And so it could break you, but it didn't break me. Mentally, I was able to overcome it, and you would never know. You would never know what I was without.
What you were dealing with.
Oh, you would never know that because I didn't wear it on my jacket.
You said earlier that some of the things that when you started writing this book, you didn't realize how much trauma you had endured. And as you started to write, it became very emotional. And in the audio books, really started. Was this the main reason why?
Yeah. Because, you reliving those moments, you get extremely emotional. I lost both of my parents at such a young age, 19 and 36. Lost my mom at 36, lost my dad at 19. And, just reliving those moments, man, it's tough. And I know what kids go through today because my dad wasn't present, but he was present, right? He didn't live with me, but he was present. Mm-hmm. My mother wasn't there, but I had so much respect for her that the time I did get to spend with her, I spent it. It was never a place I never came from a place of anger.
Yeah.
I never came from a place of disrespect. And by the way, even if I wanted to come from a place of disrespect, my mother could throw down. So she ain't going for that anyway. You're going to get your lip flat for sure. So, but I never even came like that. You understand what I'm saying? And so, but when I was writing the book, and especially when I was doing the audio book, when I got to the end where I write this message to my mom, it really choked me. You only get one mom, man.
That's it.
You get one mother. And I try to explain that to my clients today. The way our industry is today, sometimes it becomes a joust amongst families. And it's very important for everyone within the family to have perspective and to have clarity. The agent, for many years, had a black cloud over that title. That was considered somebody that was shady or somebody that it was a gray area there. I wanted to change that. The fortunate thing is I have been able to change it somewhat. The unfortunate thing has been, and we talked about it, is that you still wake up every day. I can't change the color of my skin. And as tough as it is with the industry, we make it even tougher on ourselves because there's still a competition. And don't get me wrong, when you going out and recruiting clients, yeah, you're competitive. So, but
But you're not speaking ill. You're not speaking negatively on someone.
And that's the thing.
The best man win. Best man, woman win the job.
Yes.
So I'm not going to say, oh, this person is this, that person is that, to try to conjure up so the athlete feels some type of way.
Yeah.
This is what I can provide. This is what I believe. I'm the best man for the job, my agency, and I think we can do the best job for you moving forward.
And that's the point I was making when we talked about it when we did First Take. The point I was making was, of course, I didn't expect white agents to try to help me. That wasn't even an expectation.
Right.
But coming from where I came from, the game was given by the older guys.
Right.
Whether you decided to digest it or not was on you. But I can't sit here and say that my coattail wasn't pulled to certain things to help me get through the day, get through the month, get through the year of survival. So that's all I know. I got to give that back. When I started, that wasn't the case. And I seen people online like, oh, well, you didn't say that. I'm like, you're missing the point.
Right. Did you reach out? Did you, I mean, I don't need to call any names, but did you reach out to any agent?
When I first started the business, I talked to everybody because I wanted to understand why are things the way they are. And what I came to understand is, ain't no different in the block. Every man for themselves. That has been placed upon us from a thought process. But what happens is when you create that psychology, it stunts the growth, it stunts the communication habits, it stunts. I should have came up under something that was already built.
Right, that's normally how it happens. Agencies, they normally come up in a big agency and then they branch out on their own. You started differly. You started out on your own.
I started differently. I started at a place, but I don't even count that because there was no education there. Right. There was no plan for me to become who I am today. But what I started to realize is, oh, you know, we work in a small industry, so things get back.
Yes.
The only difference is the kid on the cover of that book, in that environment, when things get back, oh,
we had to handle
we
that.
pulling up. You get what I'm saying? In this industry, when someone goes and speaks about you in a very derogatory way for 2 hours, ain't that much to say. Now, the business is the business. Competition is in all business. But when you make it personal, that's a different dynamic. Mm-hmm. Like Prime said, you made it personal.
Right.
But we couldn't do that. It's not in me. I couldn't be trying to talk to a girl and mention Shannon. That's no-go where I'm from. We don't do that. And so, but I'm in this game where I left a game that was being played with no rules and no refs, but you understand that.
Yes.
But in the corporate setting, it really ain't there's rules, but the refs are assigned to the establishment in a lot of cases. I had to learn that. I had to learn narratives. I had to learn how media works. I had to learn all these things. And I also had to learn that the smiles is not really the smiles. But I was used to that because I came from that. Mm-hmm. So I was prepared thoroughly for the position I'm in today. It's just that it's hard for me to respect it. That's all.
Football season is well underway. The baseball postseason is here. New basketball and hockey seasons are upon us. While we love watching our favorite teams on television, there's nothing better than being at the game live and in person. And I think I know a little something about that. The best way to get tickets to any of these games is on Game Time, the fastest growing ticket app in the U.S. Game Time is the only ticket app that gives you peace of mind with your purchase. They let you see the view from where your seats are before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. They're all in price, show total upfront, so you know you always are getting the best deal. And it takes no time at all. You can buy tickets in seconds with 2 taps. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, redeem code Shay for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, download the Game Time app, enter the code Shay. That's Shay, SHAY for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute ticket price, lowest price guaranteed.
You love sports coming up. Your team
loved it, yeah.
Basketball. Your team won the state title. Mm-hmm. How good of an athlete was Rich Paul?
On a scale of 1 to 10, depending on the year. If you're talking about ages, 7. If you're talking about age 7, hold up. Age 7 to 12, I was about an 8.
Because everybody's just kind of saying
about an 8 or 9.
Everybody the same height, same age, same
I got the tape. Go look at the tape.
Okay.
I got the tape. Okay. Pull the tape. We won the city championship. I won MVP. I did the interview. I thanked my teammates. Everything.
Okay.
But then once I got into high school, it changed. But it also changed because I didn't put in the work. See, I'm down at the hut. They gambling. I'm missing something. You know, we got a big dice game.
You shaking
and we got a summer league game at Euclid. I show up at halftime. That ain't right, man. But I'm down 4,500. Man, I got to get back.
Gotta get my back.
Yeah.
Gotta get my lick back, bro.
I had to. But so I just took the bitter with the sweet. I understood it, right? But as I talk about this, me not starting on my team didn't discourage me from being a part of the team. I was a part of a great team. I had great teammates, and I was on the second team every day in practice, and we made the first team work.
Right.
Sometimes we would beat the first team. Sometimes I would get in the game. Sometimes I wouldn't get in the game at all. Right? And I look up in the stands. I sit with my brother there. Some died. Nobody in my family really cared about sport, but my brother would be there sometimes. My dude would be there off the block sometimes and would support. But it was okay because I understood my position. I understood my role. But when we leave out this locker room, now it's my turn to be the man.
Right.
And that's all. Fair shame. There never been no robbery. You know what I'm saying? It's all good.
So you had, after the game, you headed back down to the block, go shake them things.
We headed somewhere. I may have some. If my dudes came to the game, they didn't come to the game for the game. They came to the game because where we going after the game. Yeah, and we would go down certain places, but I respected my teammates. And I enjoyed it. I played against Mike Gansey, who's he's GM of the Cavs now.
Okay.
A lot of guys we played against, Steve Logan, Sam Clancy. A lot of guys that was top guys. Mm-hmm. We loved it. We loved the game. We played Sam
Clancy. He played football, right?
His dad.
Okay.
His son played for USC.
Okay.
They all played for a team called St. Edwards. I went to Cleveland Benedictine.
Okay.
But Glenville was my neighborhood high school.
Okay.
That was pretty good.
Ted Jr.
Yeah, but on the basketball side was pretty good. We played with St. Vincent St. Mary every year. We had a big time schedule. and I'm really close with a family in Columbus, the Scheidenstein family in Columbus, and I won the last state championship in St. John's and the first state championship in the shot on Ohio State's campus. Mm-hmm. And so when you plan in it, you don't know, and then you meet the family whose name is on the arena. All these things, just how life takes you. But I was a pretty good athlete. I will say this, and laugh if you want to. I'm one of the best shooters, though, even still to this day. And I'd take my chance. If I was in the 1 or 450, I'd be at the top. It's guys like me, Steph, Clay.
Clay who?
Thompson. Who else is gonna be? Dane.
Steph. This man talk about he shoot like
If you just talking shooting, this is the class I'm in.
Y'all going down to the gun range? That kind of shooting?
No,
Or you talking about basketball into a rim?
Trey, Darius Garland. I'm just talking about guys in the league right now that shoot the three really well. I would be amongst.
Oh no, I'm saying you.
I would be amongst the.
We was having a good old interview. I mean, it was going well. The story that you was telling, because it's very similar to mine.
I'm just saying, but I'm talking about in terms of. I didn't say dribbling, playing. I said shooting. That's all I said.
The mere fact that you put in yourself, Rich.
If you're talking legends, you got to throw Reggie in there and Ray. It's all of us.
My point is, you putting yourself in that group. I ain't got no problem with the names you mentioned. It's just the fact that your name is in there.
In terms of shooting,
I don't care what it is.
Well, yeah, I feel good about it. And I ain't drinking. I'm not drinking no yak. I'm drinking water.
No, you should drink some more because you too sober to be saying something like that. I need a reason why you said some bullshit like that. I'm sorry. Where you said some foolishness like that.
Well, I'm just telling the truth. I put it this way. When two men got discrepancy, what's the next word?
Bet.
Exactly. That's all. That's all.
Okay.
That's the only way for you to find out.
I want you to tell the people what you told us before we came on there. I said, you play sports. You like, we'll get into that. So yeah, I'm football. I can run some routes. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was a good route runner. I played every position, man. But I'm not saying I was the best, because I'm the first to say to you, no, I was not the best on my team. I wasn't the best on any team I ever played on. But you know what I was great at? Leadership. Having perspective.
Okay.
Right? Corralling the guys, helping them understand the moment, what needs to take place, my practice habits. I'm leading the team when we run in the laps. Because I
can respect that. Because I was expecting you to come out here and say, yeah, man, I could have, if I'd have grew like another 5 or 6 inches, I probably could have played NFL.
No, we don't do no, but one thing about it, we don't do no bunch of lying. We don't do no bunch of lying. Ain't no need to be getting on here talking about no lying, because all somebody gonna do is pull up the tape. So I don't need to do none of that, no.
Right. So college, high school, you did what you, like you said, you weren't no dummy.
No. Pretty smart. Very smart. Yeah.
Attentive in class, make sure I got my homework, because at that point in time in high school, did you know kind of the direction that you wanted to go in when you became an adult?
Not at all. Not at all. So, I thought I was going to be a pro until my father told me I wasn't in 9th grade.
I read in the book that you said you used to like drinking coffee.
I did.
And then your dad told you that coffee stunted your growth and you stopped, but you might have stopped it a little bit too late because...
Yeah, I was drinking the coffee black.
Yeah. But you later realized that coffee doesn't stunt your growth.
I didn't know what to believe. You know, they could sell, they could sell fried ice cream back then, anything. I didn't know what to believe.
And you started drinking tea. So you're in high school, you graduate high school. What's Rich Paul's next plan?
I wanted to go to college. I did go to college.
Okay.
I went to college, and my dad was still alive. My dad stressed education so much. I just wanted to further my education.
Okay.
Nobody in my family went to college, right? So I went to college, and I did everything on my own. I remember picking the college I wanted to go to, going to guidance counselor, going to my, my orientation, right? And seeing the dorm and all that. I had my dad or mom didn't come on this stuff with me. I did it by myself, and but unfortunately, my freshman year of college, around September, my dad got sick. My dad got really sick, and I remember the conversation I had with my dad because I was talking to him about some books I had to order, and he had this attitude about it. And my dad never had an attitude about education, but he didn't tell me anything. My Uncle Joe had to tell me what was going on, and my sister, and so. And it just happened so fast. And so I had to transfer to be closer to my dad. And that's when I went to Cleveland State. And then, man, it'd be some days I'd be driving to class and I would just turn around and go sit with my dad because I didn't know how long I was going to have with him.
Right.
And, and that was a tough thing for me.
How did you balance that, knowing that death is on the horizon for you?
Yeah.
While all the while, but I still gotta live.
Yeah, my dad used to always tell us, though, I ain't gonna be here forever. He used to tell us that. My dad didn't sugarcoat anything, because life didn't sugarcoat anything.
Right.
And the store was on that corner, and when you stepped out on that corner, you was a part of the environment. And so, at that time, anything could happen, right? And so, that's how he prepared us. And so, it was tough, though. It was tough, but I got through it, but it was tough. But I'm glad I did spend those days. And some days I would just go and just sit next to his bedside,
You say, I read where you said that the streets was your Morehouse, was your Harvard. That the knowledge that you got to deal with people in business on a corporate level, on a higher side now, all that information you didn't get from books. You didn't get from a college. You got it from the streets and dealing with people in the streets, dealing with people in your dad's convenience store.
Yes. Yeah. Because to me, and that's why when they brought up the Rich Paul rule, I didn't think that made any sense, especially working in the business that we work in. We're in the service industry. You don't learn how to service people from a textbook. You learn that through experience.
Right.
And when I was out there, that was my experience at my dad's store, dealing with people, seeing the pitfalls and challenges. And I realized something. You can learn so much from someone telling you their failures. Because everybody want to know what should they be doing.
Successful.
Right. But you also should want to know what you shouldn't be doing. It's so much in to learn from what not to do. And so that's how we learn. We had to learn the silhouettes of people. We had to learn cars. We had to learn how to just diffuse situations. Like I talk about my friend Cactus in the book. And it was a situation. This is my friend. He lived on the next street, Edmonton, Woodside. And I told the story not because today, currently he's incarcerated, but when he get out, not because we won't be friends, because we were friends. But as a young black man, you don't always understand how to communicate right? You don't want to be judged because you always are being what? Judged. And so what that does is it causes you to act even despite you not wanting to act a certain way. So I tell this story about what took place with us. And I had to understand the position that he was in, and I had to pivot. So therefore, he wouldn't be in a position where he had to act even on something he probably would have regretted down the road.
Right.
And so that's the reason I told that, because it's the same way today. Everybody's committing things, an act, because they don't want to be judged, or they don't know how to communicate something to someone else. And so, a 2-minute decision costs them 20 years of their life.
Right.
And it's too much of that.
How did you decide to go into the line of work that you're currently in?
It was organic. I love sports. I love fashion. I love people. I played the game. I watched every game. I played every sport, did taekwondo, box, gymnastics, football, baseball, basketball. And all my friends played sports for the most part. And then I had another half that, we was kind of split down the middle. And so as I was getting into the jersey business, I'm selling the jerseys, again, it's just sports and culture is all the same. It's like it intersects. And I never planned on being an agent, but I always had this ability to connect with people. I knew the game. I know the game. I could talk football. I could talk basketball. I could talk baseball, right? And so as I started to see what representation looked like, I started to understand that it was, in a lot of ways, it was surface deep. There was a perception that the agent should look like this. And then from that perception, there was an opportunity given to others, right? And so now that game was started to be played. Your agent has to look like this. There was a narrative that he had to be a lawyer or whatnot. And then on the flip side, they have a relationship with the shoe company or whatever. And the shoe company understands the players coming in. They know what they have and what they don't have. They're giving that information to 1 or 2 or 3 individuals only. And then here they come. And because of the perception of them and how they looked, the families deemed them to be what? Educated, better positioned, smart, all these different things. And then when I got behind the walls, I'm like, well, that's fool's gold, because they don't know our culture for sure. So when I'm doing a shoe deal, if I have a signature athlete, there's some things that you need to know to better position that person. Mm-hmm. There's a reason why certain decisions was made for certain athletes, because that representation didn't know cool. Right? And didn't know culture. But we tend to skip over that and not value certain expertise because it's not packaged a certain way. See, this is packaged. When you look at the best brands in the world, their packaging matters, right? Our packaging automatically was discredited from day one. So now I had to work around that.
Right. So started Clutch. You say, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to start my own company.
Yeah.
What was your thought process behind starting your own company?
I was so motivated. I was in a position where, you could just feel when somebody trying to play you. And I wasn't that type of guy. I was never dependent of somebody. I was always, I know how to get on my own. Yeah. And so it wasn't no challenge for me to leave the agency I left. And I wasn't really like, they would tell you, oh, it was planned, or we positioned like that. That's all bullshit. No, it wasn't. It wasn't planned. I had an issue. The issue wasn't being resolved. And oftentimes when someone, quote unquote, feels like they gave you an opportunity, you should forever be
indebted to them
But I'm like, no, you can, I mean, I understand the idea of the opportunity, but it came because I was somebody's friend.
We have to learn to stop being a slave to loyalty.
Yeah. And I'm like,
somebody gives us an opportunity and we feel forever indebted, although things are not going the way that they should. Nah, I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah. But my thing is, you know, the opportunity of what entirely, you know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, yeah, there's an opportunity, but what's the plan?
Right.
There was no plan.
Mm-hmm.
The plan is just all good as long as somebody else is happy. I never want to be in that position, and it was all good. I played the role. And I was doing my thing.
Right.
I started to get talent. I started beating guys out, and I wasn't even a registered agent, and I was beating guys out, right? And they didn't know how. Nobody really knew how, but I had a connectivity.
Right.
And so when I seen that I can actually do it, I decided, once I seen I can actually do it, and this didn't feel good, and I'm seeing what's transpiring, I'm like, I'm out. It wasn't a plan. It was May conversation. Shit. By August, my mind was already made up. Regardless, I didn't care if LeBron stayed. I didn't care who stayed. I was out, and I had the mentality that I was going to build it. It just so happened that they left with me, and I was appreciative of that.
You know what you know. I'm not interrupting your normally scheduled programming to break news to you. You know what's being said. You know what was said. Mm-hmm. He got LeBron James. So it wasn't that he was good at what he does. It's that he just had the best player in the NBA. And everybody says, okay, if he's that, LeBron trusts him, I'll trust him also.
Well, that's BS, because it actually goes the other way in a lot of cases. It's more challenging, at least for me. Now, when they have it or have him, or if you got this person, it's a different dynamic. You can use your client list and it's to your benefit. It's to your benefit. But when it's me and it's my client list, or I got the stars, it's a detriment that comes with that. People don't understand. It's like, oh, you had LeBron, it should be easy. No, it's actually harder. You know why it's harder? Because we come from a place where there can only be one king. Our environment teaches us to always be competitive. There's no collaboration. There's no communication. You know, there's no connectivity that's there. There's no compounding of anything. So it actually becomes harder. And by the way, I've lost clients because of this. The person next to them feel like they're in competition with me. So no, I'm not even in that space. You're not in competition with me. The position I'm in right now, I could do anything for anybody within reason. And I want to do that. I'm not competing with other agents. I'm not competing with young up and coming people that have a guy that want to be positioned and empowered. I want to empower you, but they're putting out there, oh, well, you know, Rich ain't gonna do this, Rich ain't gonna. See for yourself. I don't need the peanut gallery. See for yourself. And if there's a conversation that makes sense, and if it makes business sense, then we can do business. But at the end of the day, it's actually, it works for me.
It works against you.
It works against you in a lot of ways. Now, in some cases, it does work for you. Don't get me wrong. When you have the talent that we have at our company, you can't deny that. But yet and still, unfortunately, we have to break down the psychological barriers of, I come from it. Right. When I was young, selling candy and pop and beer and wine at my dad's store, some people chose not to patronize with us because in their mind, if I spend my money with Rich, then Lil Rich get the Jordans. And I don't have them. So God was already preparing me for this position I'm in now. So when I see it, it don't even bother me.
When do you remember, did you know who LeBron was when you first met him? And what was your first impressions when you did meet him?
Yeah, our high schools played against each other every year.
Yeah.
So myself and Maverick, we played against each other every year. It's mandatory. Football, basketball, baseball. Our high schools played against each other every year. Bron wasn't yet Bron. They had won before, but he wasn't on the cover of Sports Illustrated. But I know every kid. Right. I know every kid because I go to games, all that. And my impression was, he asked me a question about what I had on. My energy was nice enough, not because I was looking for something in return. And that's another thing. Our environment teaches us, if you give me something, I got to get something in return. Right. That's why we never build anything. That's why everyone wants to be the talent, because the talent brings forth fortune and fame. No one ever thinks about building, or no one ever thinks about playing a different role within the ecosystem, a physical therapist, analyst, GM, etc. There's a lot of roles to play within the ecosystem, but that's not the popular role to play. And that's why everybody can't be Shannon Sharp. Just can't. Everybody ain't gonna wear that yellow jacket and go up in Canton. But my jacket could be it may not be yellow, but that's for the Hall of Fame. But I got a jacket on. Right. You understand what I'm saying? So that's always been my mentality.
Why is it such a problem is that, Phil Knight, Jeff Bezos, you look at some of the greatest men in the world, wealthiest men in the world, women, have had someone believe in them. But it seems to be a problem that LeBron, I don't know, and you don't have to address this, I don't know if he invested money, but I know he invested an opportunity.
Yeah, LeBron never gave me a dime. And that's what they wanted to put out there. Right. But they didn't say that about Jeff Schwartz. They didn't say that about Arn Tellem. They didn't say that about Mark Bartelstein. They didn't say those things. Right. Right? What you think happened with them? What you think happened? You get what I'm saying? And I respect those guys. But that's not what's being said. Right. You get what I'm saying? When they have the top player, that player don't have to own a piece of their business for them to represent them. That player is representing them. They're represented by that player is represented by that person because that person is deemed to be capable
of doing the
job. Same for me. Right.
I want to know this. After Dan Gilbert said what the hell he said, he wrote what he wrote. Said LeBron quit, put that thing up in the paper. How in the hell did you convince LeBron to take his ass back to Cleveland?
Legacy. It's about legacy, man. We come from a place where two brothers shoot at each other and sleep in the same bed. What we gonna set that for? You gonna put that over your legacy?
When you first told LeBron, hey, Bron, check this out, bro. For your legacy, I think you ought to go back to Cleveland and win the title. What did Bron say? What was his exact words to you?
He was open-minded. He was open-minded, but he wasn't the first person I had a conversation. I had to have a conversation with, we close. Yeah. So Savannah and Unglow and Mav and Randy, we talked about it. But again, when you talk about, this is my job, this is the role I play.
So before you talked to Bron, you talked to Savannah, you talked to Glow, you talked to Mav.
In addition to talking to LeBron, right. I talked to everybody.
Right. How did Savannah feel?
Well, man, we've been down like 4 fat tires so she understood because I have a perspective on it, right? And I don't make it about me. Right. What I'm saying is, in terms of legacy, right? And we identified the talent that was currently on the team, and it wasn't about winning. I didn't know they was gonna go to the finals in the first year. That was all I was saying was, there's an opportunity. And if you're able to win, it's a wrap. Right. Forget anything else. If you win a championship for the city of Cleveland and the Cleveland Cavaliers, I don't care what anybody get on any media platform and say, it don't even matter. Right. From that point on, it's all uphill.
How receptive was his mom, Gloria?
Coming from me, she understood it. She understood it, and she gonna support what he support. Right. She understood it. So she's like a mom to me. So when I come, I barely come, but when I do, I barely come to the table with anything. When I do come to the table with something, they know it's serious. Because I'm not coming to the table just for the sake of coming to the table. Right. I'm coming to the table. I've thought this through. I've strategized it. It makes perfect sense, and so on and so forth. And they allow me to do my job.
The conversation of leaving Cleveland, going to LA? Whose idea was that?
Well, the conversation leaving Cleveland going to LA, I mean, and I talked about this before, and people just go crazy. But the conversation was pretty simple in terms of what is it that you want to do? If you want to stay here, let's stay here. But if you want to go somewhere, your brand is here. You only got so many options, right? We wasn't going to New York, even though New York, was
an option.
Was an option. But ultimately, he had already had a place in LA, and I had the opportunity of spending a year here because I had KCP here and getting a better understanding of the organization. Magic and I talked a lot. I knew Rob just throughout the years, and his family wanted to be in LA, and so ultimately it became an easier choice. But when we start doing the process of elimination, it's only so many places to go. And LJ gets bored about things and whatnot, right. And people take that out of context. But I'm just saying in terms of, and I said to him, now, the only thing is, you came back from 3-1. You done brought a championship here. You done been to 8 straight finals. I think he went to 8 straight. Yeah, he went to 8 straight.
Yeah. 4 in Miami, 4 in Cleveland.
You coming down off that mountaintop. Now, when we go to LA, it's all about championships. But all you need is 1. You don't need 15, because you're not going to have the time to do that. But if you can get 1, and made a decision, and that was it. Like, it's not, again, when I come to the table with something, I don't come to the table that often, so when I do, it has some substance to it.
So what is your take on the player empowerment? We see players being able to, I'm not happy here, I'm going there. I'm not happy there, I'm going somewhere else. I'm not happy this. The James Harden situation.
Yeah.
What's your take on the Harden situation?
Well, I mean, in James's case, I think from what I understand about him, what he's said publicly, I know James, known him for a long time. It's a personal thing that he feels as if something was
promised,
was positioned for him, and it's different. I don't know if it's totally basketball, because I know James loved the game of basketball. Mm-hmm. And there's some things that probably could have took place prior to, but that's up to them. I don't represent James, but yeah, it's a tough situation for him, man. But ultimately, when you're in these type of situations, the one thing that's very important that I think people have to monitor and understand is your value.
Right.
You want to keep your value up. And so you think about the value coming from the extension that could have been in Brooklyn to currently now.
Well, he's never gonna get that money.
We don't know where that is.
Rich, he's not getting that money. What was it? 3?
It ain't for me to say. I don't know where it is. I don't know, but I'm just saying.
I don't see it. I don't see him at that age wanting out of Houston, wanting out of Brooklyn, wanting out of Philly, and somebody trusting him to give him that money. You've represented a lot of guys, and you get close, you build a relationship. But how hard is it for you to part ways with a guy? A guy says, you know what, man, this just doesn't.
It's not that hard.
It's not?
No, because at the end of the day, you have to understand you're not going to be able to please everybody. And sometimes we can work a very, very thankless job. Sometimes you could do everything right, and it's not good enough. Because, again, our athletes are being taught a certain way. They're being taught everybody should be doing stuff for you for free. They're being taught that. Come play for my AAU team, I'm going to give you this. Your parents can fly on us. Mm-hmm. So now you build these habits up when it comes to doing business, and it's a talent, right? So now, if anybody has an entitlement to that talent, that's like the steering wheel of the car. So now, well, what are you doing? He's scoring the points. What are you doing? We don't only work on July 1st. We work all year round, but it's not looked at like that. So you have to start to distinguish yourself from who actually values you and values your expertise, because treat me the same way you treat that person sitting behind the counter at the Louis Vuitton cash register. They ain't giving you no discount. You ain't coming to them. You throwing everything on, and you, because it costs more and it's a thing, it's just stature thing. You want to show that you spent $200,000 at the store, right? But then when it comes to someone who
your percentage, they want to cut your percentage in half.
That don't make sense to me, right? But this is what's happening in the space,
right?
And for those that lead with that, because there's a lot of companies that lead with that, they do it playing on the ego that I'm so good that they want to work for less,
right?
Because I'm so good. But when you think about life, nothing else in life works like that. If you need heart surgery, you want a discount?
You want the best.
I'm just asking you.
Hell no.
You got Club Shay, your production crew. Mm-hmm. You want to just get some guys off the street?
No, hell no.
But only in sports is where they can feed the egos so much that it causes you to have bad business practice. Now, people may say, oh, you're just saying that it's self-serving. No, it's in anything. Anything you do in life that's worthy, there's no shortcut to that, right? You go up in Hermes, you can't even buy nothing. By the way,
no,
you want to buy a bag? It don't matter how much money you got.
You ain't on.
This is my point. So that's what I'm saying. But when they can't get it there, they go and pay what? Double and triple.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying?
They play over retail.
So my thing is just about respect. I mean, I can't say what other people do and don't do. It's just, but for me, it's not that hard when, if it's not working out, then it don't work out.
I'm gonna get you out of here on this one, and you're the closest to the story, so you would know. What is with the vitriol of the older players towards LeBron? It seems like a lot of the old players don't want to give this younger generation the credit that they deserve.
Yeah.
But it seems like a lot of the ire is pointed at 23. Why do you think that is?
It's really corny to me.
Absolutely.
And like I said, when you out there, you deal with certain things. It's layered, in my opinion. You gotta remember, when LeBron came in, a lot of guys were still in their prime, and all the attention turned to him. In 2000, all the attention, boom, $100 million contract, real $100 million, not that fluff that be going out today. I'm talking about $100 million contract.
Never dribbled NBA basketball in the NBA.
They ain't never seen nothing like that. Jay-Z sending a private jet when he's still in high school. We going up to New York every weekend, every other weekend, whatever, when you could, you know what I'm saying? All these things, they wasn't, and so quite naturally in the neighborhood, you develop what? An envy. It's much easier for you to be like, man, that's some cold, man, that's player. That's real player, man. I appreciate that. I'm proud of you. That's the hardest thing to do. The easiest thing to do is what they do. You have. And then now when you give that into a media platform, and now it's even trickling down to some of the younger players, they purposely don't say his name in things. Oh, I played this because of these people. But again, everybody didn't always have the Mamba mentality. The Mamba mentality came after Kobe was really done. Then all of a sudden, everybody had the Mamba mentality.
Because the Mamba mentality, everybody frowned upon it because they say he was ball hogging.
Yeah, but when he was playing, because I was there, he wasn't hanging out with none of these guys. You get what I'm saying?
I do.
But I'm not surprised because I come from it. I wish it was different, but I'm not surprised because I come from it. But what impresses me more is that guy don't do unto those what they do to him. His door's always been open. Every time you see somebody, man, what's up? Show love, etc. Even when there's
is he too
friction,
nice? Because
too nice.
Because Jordan gave the players he played it with it, but he like I ain't fooling with y'all. Kobe really didn't fool with.
But you gotta understand, some familiarity breed disrespect, and I tell him that sometimes. They can walk past somebody and don't even speak. That make that person want to speak to you more. If you speak to that person every time, it becomes, and that's the treatment that he gets sometimes. You get what I'm saying? They get on Draymond for being his friend. It's craziness, right?
Right.
But again, this is not about, that's not an athlete thing. That's a people thing. And that's why I said what I said when we were talking on First Take. We have to break those cycles. I'm not going to do unto those others as they done to me. That's just not what I come from, because you don't want those habits created. So,
is the Jordan-LeBron debate ever going to end?
It ain't going to end, but Bron's a GOAT. Jordan a GOAT, but Bron's a GOAT.
One
And
guy,
Steph Curry changed the game.
One guy got gold horns, the other guy got platinum horns.
Yeah. Might got a little platinum in his, but it's like platinum and gold. And then Bron's all platinum.
Lucky me, a memoir of changing the odds. Rich Paul.
Yeah. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
All my life, been grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle paid the price. Want a slice, got to roll the dice. That's why all my life, I've been grinding all my life. Look, all my life, been grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle paid the price. Want a slice, got to roll the dice. That's why all my life, I've been grinding all my life.